All right, y'all. What's up? This is What's Up? What you got to say? This is your girl, Dizzy. I got my crazy co-host in the building. What's up, cool Candace?
What's up? It's time to chop it up, y'all. Let's get it.
All right. What's up, Mr. Cabana Black?
What's up? I'm that dude.
What's up, Mr. Tyrone Gregory?
Hey, we here. Let's get it.
And what's up, Miss Keela Mahogany?
What up, y'all?
What up, y'all? So we are getting ready to start our watch party. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. So and then we will get into the show. Come on, make it happen. Y'all ready for this today?
Yeah.
Look, everybody in unison. Yeah.
Dems versus Republicans. What we gonna do?
I know.
Red versus blue. Why it sound like some gang shit?
I know, right? That's what. Look, you on both sides. Both sides gonna get you, Keela. You repping everybody.
They don't want that. They're gonna order that one.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Why is this?
What you eating?
Yes,
granola bar.
A who?
Honey granola.
Oh. Well, shit. If you eating, Keela eating, I'm gonna eat too.
Y'all already know that's what we do.
I'm sorry. Start off a little late.
Finish up this fettuccine.
I only have tea.
I only have tea. Well, what's the tea then, girl? What's the tea?
It's peach.
Hello, everybody is watching.
Got some people already watching, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up, Marcus Dupree? I see you, bruh.
Hey. It's
Marcus Dupree said Republican and Democrat, lesser of two evils. I hear you, bruh.
Kind of, sort of, maybe so.
Yeah. What's up, James Morrell? I see you.
Why my watch party ain't coming in?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now that I got all my flies flowing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. So the subject of the day. The subject of today for this show, of course, this past week, we had Joe Biden go ahead and release who his VP running mate was. And of course, it was Kamala Harris. So congratulations to her and that opportunity.
Yes,
However,
congratulations.
Yes, congratulations on that. However, this leads to an entirely different conversation that we saw. I guess you could say social media and even the people in people's homes have changed or have started this dialogue over the past few days. There's a couple of things. So we wanted to talk on one, are we embracing the Biden and Harris ticket? That's one thing we're going to discuss today. Two, is there people out there that are still clutching to the Trump-Pence ticket after what we've seen for the past 4 years? And then what are the true ramifications if you don't vote? So I've seen quite a few people saying, I don't like nobody, so I ain't voting, or I'm gonna write my own name in, or I'm gonna vote for Kanye. So we are watching the watch party. We are watching the live. So if you have questions, comments, anything while we're talking about this, please, please, please say what you have to say what you got to say, and we will say it online and respond to what you're saying. So I want to say hi to James Morrell, hi to Adrian Parker, hi to Tiff Wright, hi Shirley, hi Christian, hi Denise. Hey, what's up, girl? And again, hey, what's up, Mr. Marcus Dupree? So first question is, are we embracing the Biden-Kamala Harris ticket?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are. And I mean, he goes in me.
Okay.
I'm definitely embracing the Biden ticket. I'm definitely for it, Biden and Harris. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get with it. I mean, we had Biden in there before with Obama. I know what he, kind of about, but, hey, it is what it is. I'd rather anybody than goddamn 45.
Okay. Yes, yes. Anybody but 45. Okay. What do you think, Candace?
That's pretty much what it is. Like I wasn't I wasn't on Team Biden initially. I wasn't. But when he got the call it the nomination, I guess you can call it or say whatever. Right. Everybody was like, "Yay!" and a lot of other folks was like,
right.
Like I wasn't all the way on board with it, but I'm like, we still gotta get this one out the office. Like so, lesser of two evils is the best way to put it.
Correct.
Not all the way on board, but I'm not sitting on the fence either. It's like I'll show up, but I don't really want to be here.
Right.
How you can...
Okay. My stance is, kind of like all of y'all's. I am not happy with what I have seen happen to, and I'm gonna say my country because this is my country. Right. I'm not happy with what I have seen go on in my country for the past 4 years. I do believe that the actions of the people are a direct reflection of the actions of the leader. And I think that right now we're viewed as a joke to other countries. And I think that the behavior of the leader has allowed other individuals to believe that they could also behave as such. And I think people have forgotten, I might not be able to run up and punch the president in the face, but if you come out your mouth right here with the same rhetoric, you can catch these hands and there are repercussions to what you say to me. So all four of us right now are saying yes for Biden and Harris, as long as we get what we have right now out. Is that in general? I'm asking. I want him out. I don't want worse than him.
No, I didn't. I'm trying to understand. Like I was for Biden before Harris.
Okay.
And I was for Biden because to me, sometimes I get baffled on the decision of yes and no when something is really, really wrong. Okay. I don't understand how people are having this deep debate over something that is obvious. When you look in other countries, in China, Germany, that doesn't seem the case. They, call out a person for what it is. But once again, like you say, I think what Trump did, and the only thing that Trump did, was reveal the truth. That we are embedded with people that are just like him. And that is the problem. So for me, looking at hate versus non-hate, I was like, that the choice is clear. It's not even, and I'm gonna be very, very honest. Of course, I've studied Biden and all this kind of stuff, but even without studying, I would have been picking Biden because we have such an extremely evil, diabolical man in office. I just don't get because we don't have no other choices. Like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be different if we had other choices, but if we don't have any other choices, why are you leaning on the choice to hate you? Especially, let me say close to the camera, Black people. I don't get it. And I would love my brothers and sisters to get on this feed that support Trump and tell me why. Mm-hmm. So then that way I can get a better understanding. But if someone hates you and they hate you and they want to get rid of you and they don't want you to be here, or better yet, they don't want to get rid of you. They want to use what you possess as our community of power. Right. But you still want them in office? Well, then tell me why you want to do it, a Black person. Because I already know what a white person wants.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that was the first question. Are we embracing the ticket? We're embracing the ticket. So I got that. So I want to go ahead and address this part of the conversation because I definitely saw a split in this conversation on social media. So when Kamala Harris's name was dropped as the VP, of course, everybody and their mama has an opinion of everybody else and their mama. So one of the lives for another friend of mine that I happened to tune into was a conversation about whether or not, so of course, a lot of Black people rejoiced when it was Kamala. They were like, oh my God. And I know Cabana doesn't like this term, but the first Black nominee for vice president, Black woman nominee for vice president, which she really is not, but we'll go back to that. But she's not, but it was great when they tried to write that. For vice president, a vice president nominee. Cool. Then I saw social media take another split.
Lord.
You had some individuals that were saying she's not Black, and other individuals saying she's Black. And it was our own people. So there was a long conversation conversations that have been had on whether or not she's Black. Now, for me, at the end of the day, I don't care if she is or not. I want somebody in the seat to help make change in this country.
Right.
Someone who is competent and is willing to push some type of change that is beneficial to the masses, not help just this little group right here.
Agreed. And I'm on board with that. But I think what I found funny about the timing is that this conversation was sparked right after we did our colorism episode.
Mm.
And all of this information that came out, just in case y'all didn't go back and watch the colorism episode 20, What You Got to Say.
Episode.
We talked about colorism within the African American community. Mm-hmm. And so to see my Black people, because I don't want to say my African American community, to see because we're going to use the correct terminology, to see Black people want to split and say whether or not she is or is not Black, that concerned me. So how did that hit y'all? Tell me what y'all thought about that split immediately.
That part had me blown for a while. I was like, that makes no sense. Your argument makes no sense. Her father is Jamaican. There's no other way to say she's not Black. Her daddy Jamaican. She Black. She one of us. She on the lighter spectrum, but she still one of us. Like,
Candace, I feel you.
And what was your reasoning for saying that? For anyone who did say that, or for anyone who does think that, please leave your comments. Please chime in. What makes you think that is not just because her mother isn't? Because if that was the case, thing about former President Barack Obama, that he's not Black because his mother isn't Black. So I'm
okay.
In America, if either one of your parents are Black, you a nigga. Period, point blank.
Why?
Because that's what we say. That's exactly how we do. I ain't gonna say nothing.
This is our straightforward part of us.
In America, that's how we are. If you got any kind of Black in you, you Black. If your mama Black, your daddy Black, you Black. Period, point blank.
So you don't think it's a conversation. It's not a conversation as far as you're concerned.
School days was like, at the end of the day, you gonna be a nigga forever. Just like
True.
You can embrace whatever culture you want to, but guess what? When them cops get behind you, you's a nigga.
So you know what? I don't want to jump into that yet. I want to see what everybody else says, because I wasn't in on this conversation. There he is. So just to let y'all know,
yo, he in the studio.
Yeah, we are all in kind of like in this group chat together, and we talk about a lot of issues before we go live. So I don't know what happened Friday night.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't
but
part of that.
A whole revolution back and forth thing was going on between Miss Keela and Mr. Rodney and even Mr. Cabana Black.
Yes.
About the Blackness or lack thereof of Kamala Harris. And so they got on Zoom, they did a live to discuss this, and I still haven't been able to see what the discussion was. So I would like we don't have to rehash the whole conversation, but I would like to know what the two stances were on Kamala. Keela, go first. I want to hear what your stance was.
Black.
All righty then. All right. Oh, hey, what's up, Tiffany and Denise? Denise said, Tyrone, you crazy. Why we gotta be N-words? Tiffany says, Black folks always do that. We be doing the most. We are so easily distracted by the wrong things. Shaking my head. What's up, Ray Jones? I see you. Mondo, Ernestine, Ray. I see y'all. All right, Keela, bottom line, she Black.
I just felt that, it just is what it is. I think the confusion, not the confusion, I want Rodney to give his point of view, because that's where I had to check him on his point of view, because he's been too damn long.
All right, so Rodney, please enlighten us with your point of view.
Oh God.
Yes.
All right, so the thing for me is that Kamala Harris is one of us, and I gotta quote Diddy too, because we had a conversation between you and I. She's an ally of us, as in African Americans.
Right.
And my point of view is that, as Greg said as well, if the cops pull over, of course he's gonna get treated that way. But my point of sense is saying that I see a pattern of who's being chosen to help run this country when it comes to Black folks in general. It's not one of us who are sitting in who have grandparents who were slaves on the plantations in America. Jamaica's Jamaica. Her father has citizenship of Jamaica. I did try to look and see what exactly that means, because being here in Germany, I know the definition of citizenship. Just because you have citizenship doesn't mean that you are actually German. They're just saying here, your parents and such. So when I looked at him up on Wikipedia, it said he has citizenship of Jamaica and American, but his nationality, I don't know. But my point is to say this, that anyone who qualifies for 40 acres and a mule, and who that was set for, are, to me, Black as in Black American. Our terminology of how we define each other was African American, and then it was Black, and before that it was something else, Negro and colored.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, she is Black, she is of color. I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying she's not Black enough. I'm not saying because of the color of her skin. Okay. But what I am saying is that when our daughters and our sons grow up, I want them to see someone who is a descendant from us, from those who were on plantations, those who were slaves in America, those who were beaten, those who were lynched, those who were mobbed, and so on and so on. I want to see one of us. Our allies, whether they're Jamaican, whether they're Haitian, whether they're from the Congo, or whether they're from Ghana or from Kenya, they're all allies of us, and they're all Black, and they all face the issues.
Correct.
When they're coming into the country, they face those issues that we face. That being said, but at the end of the day, she is an ally of us, and I'm thankful for that, but she is not one of us.
Okay. So
hold on, before you even say that, because I definitely want to jump in.
Oh no, wait a minute.
That definitely will not be not me jumping in.
I got you.
Okay.
So this is why when I first started discussing this, I said we must make sure we're using the correct terminology. Mm-hmm. So I didn't go to Wikipedia because it's not a credible source, because it can be altered and changed. But just in case any of you guys do know, you guys can always do Google Scholar. Google Scholar gives you credible sources on any subject that you want to find. Okay.
Yep.
So there is a doctor. I can give you her name if you need me to. There is a doctor, and her name is Crystal Marie Fleming, and she is a professor of sociology and Africana studies at State University of New York, Stony Brook. So I read what her depiction was of what was going on with the debate with Kamala Harris. And so she said, basically, Kamala Harris, just as Barack Obama, their multi-ethnic and multiracial composition is and will always be a difficult conversation in the United States, because we are raised to see black or white. And we're raised like that, or we're taught this way in order to maintain the white supremacist narrative, because that is what was installed in us.
Absolutely.
She said, if you want to look in actual terms, Kamala Harris's father, yes, he is Jamaican, Caribbean descent. He is black. Her mother is South Asian, and she is Indian. Although she is black, she is just not African American, because she has no U.S. ties to slavery. So that does not mean that that her ancestors do not have ties to a form of slavery. So, but still, I feel, I don't care if you were a slave, a descendant or not. You're black. That is what she's saying. You are black. You just may not necessarily be African American based off of, I don't know, now I did not look at citizenship either. But what made me dive deeper into this is always a conversation when we're talking about two different races that have, or two different ethnicities that have two different skin tones. Yep. So let me break it down. I am an African American female. My husband is Cameroonian. My children are black, regardless. Period. So what? Regardless, my husband's family background has no U.S. descendants of slaves. My husband's don't. I do. So I don't see how our children will look to someone who looks like my husband and say, oh, well, you look like me, but you don't have any descendants of slaves, so you're not really black then. I don't see that as a credible reason to separate that. Mm-hmm. I think that Kamala Harris, whatever she says she identifies with, then that's what it is. And she has two very distinct cultures and blood running through her body. Mm-hmm. So if she says, I am black, she's correct. If she says, I am Asian, South Asian, I'm Indian, she is correct. She doesn't have that problem. It's everyone else that has the problem because they don't know what box to put her in.
But there's really...
we'll check that black/African American box. I've never heard her say African American. She always just says
black. Right. That's what I've seen. Go ahead, Cabana. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's good, because the conversation that me and Rodney and Keela had was a great conversation, because I had another aha moment. And as you know, I'm getting more information from our talks, and learning about what really is true America. The slave narrative is the slave narrative. It has been there since the beginning. And the thing that I had the aha moment about is that, like you said, and like the woman said, they create the narrative for us to have a separated conversation. When I was talking to Rodney, I realized, like, wait a minute, hold up. What you're talking about is culture. When you say Jamaican, Caribbean, Panamanian, people from Trinidad, you give them all those things don't have a color to it. That's their culture. That is the way they are raised. I started to think to myself, okay, so why when we go to the boxes, do we have to just check black when it should say African, Cameroon, Panamanian? But they don't do that because the power and the diversity of black is so wide that it is almost deafening and very intimidating to those that cannot handle that kind of truth. Because, and I'm saying this kindly, and I'm not saying it offensively, but when you are one generation where your generation just stops at white, Chinese, Asian, then there, and you don't have nothing else to go for. But when you look at our generation and it goes African, Panamanian, Cameroon, Jamaican, Haitian, it goes on and on and on. Instead of dealing with us as past, they put us together. And what happens is we end up arguing over culture instead of color. Because when you wake up and look in the mirror, your color tells you what you are. It is not something that people have to define or have a conversation about. And just like Rodney said, when the cop sees us, if they're not fair weather, because we know our black can look white, right? Our black can have blue eyes, right? Our dark black can have blue eyes, right? So therefore, when they see our black, they already call us black. It's very recognizable. It is only when it is in compromise. And Miss Harris, she has what I call business. There has to be a business decision made far as what is comfortable for the in-between of the Democratic Party to have. I wish there was a dark girl that went to school and wanted to do and do, and I'm sure she is. What I'm saying is, was there and available for the picking, because that job is hard. That job is something that you personally want to do. It's not a, when people start talking about careers and start, lumping color in there. No, it is something that the person wants to do. And I would love for somebody that looks like Candace to be up there. So I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I am happy that there is representation that is smart, that knows what she's been doing, that has gone through the system, has done what is needed in order to be a part of it. Because to be honest, there is no perfect president. There's some real bad ones.
There's no perfect person.
Right, there's no perfect person. So I think for me, one of the things that I got from our conversation was we are forced to take our culture and erase it and just choose a color. Because in Mexican, like when you think about Mexicans, they will, we know them. They have celebrations, they got their flags, they got this, they got that. In China, got this, got that. When you start talking about black, it's like, oh, we gotta fight for a month, we gotta fight for a day, we gotta fight for a holiday. It's like, it is a fight, because instead of dealing with the diaspora of all of us, they only wanna make it one of us. And black is too many things to be just one. And when people start to realize that.
Dope. That was a dope.
Yes.
A very dope statement.
Well, I think because Rodney opened my thought pattern to see that what I thought wasn't. It's not that people are fighting against color. It's just they don't realize that they're fighting against their culture.
Right.
And all those cultures are us.
I'm going to tell you something funny that you said is, so before I jumped into that conversation, I spoke with my husband, because again, sometimes I need to bounce my ideas off someone who is not from this country.
Right. Because
he was not raised the way we were raised.
Right.
So he's had conversations where he's been at work and, another black man is upset about something and he's like the man. Not my husband, the other person is like, oh, that's the man trying to hold me down because slavery. And my husband's like, hold on. I have never been a slave. My family has never been a slave. So I can't relate to what you're saying right now. I can't. And that's weird for them, for African American, to hear that from someone who looks like them. I don't have the mentality you have. Because I wasn't raised in that form. And so what he brought up to me was, he says, the difference between the way that African Americans are processing this and the way that white people are processing this. And correct me, Lance is in the building. So I want Lance to say, I got two big paragraphs and people want to say something, but I want to finish my statement. He said, you have several different types of white people. You have Irish, and German and Dutch and all of these different, versions of white. He said, and you can even have, because Ronnie brought to my attention, you can even have a German not like an Irish. I don't like you. Whatever.
You could.
But
We did.
when the shit hits the fan in the United States of America, they're not fighting between who's Irish and who's German. They're not fighting those fights.
Right.
When they come to the table, when they come to the table, it's we are white. That's what it is.
The majority, yeah.
Hold on,
Now.
I got two. Albert Brunson says, hold on. Albert Brunson says, I think what Rodney was saying is that the white man does not want a black man or woman with slave ties to America in the seat of president or vice president. There is something much deeper going on in the shadows while we are arguing this. I agree with that statement. Didn't disagree with that piece of it. Yeah. I agree. I agree
too.
Lance says, I totally agree, Dizzy. Not credible at all. It shouldn't matter what your ancestors are. In today's society, you need to look at someone for who they are instead of what they are. The who defines someone as a person. The what persona opens up room for judgment based on what they look like. People need to learn how to be open-minded and look deeper within a person rather than at the person, if that makes sense. And Lance, this is where I check that box to say, this is where allies are important. Just in case you guys don't know out there who watching us live, Lance tunes into this show every single week.
Every week.
Gives us, I would say, gives us input from the other side. He gives us input from the other side. But however, what I like about it is that if we say something that we think is correct and Lance doesn't think it's correct, he'll give his input. But Lance, what I hope that Lance is doing, and I think we discussed this in the colorism conversation, is that when Lance is sitting at a table around others that look just like him and have the backgrounds from him, he's having this same conversation, because that dialogue is what's going to help change the entire narrative. And Lance says, hello from the other side.
Hello. We got some people up here too.
Thank you, Lance. Hey, say hi to your people. Say hi to y'all's people.
What's up, Prince Hakeem?
Just one person.
No, I have to go up the feed.
got one person too.
What's up, Prince Hakeem? What's up, Tanithia? What's up, Marino? What's up? You know, I gotta go up this feed. It's
okay.
It's what up, Tracy? Yeah,
Hey, Ashley and Shane and Donald Cherry and Tata CK and Anka and Jay Hill, Angela Houghton and Levator. Thank you all for tuning into this today. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna say what's up to my father-in-law, Howard Kirkland. Hey, appreciate you for tuning in.
Hey Scott. Hey Tootsie. Carmen, Axel. How y'all doing? Hey Candace.
Hey, Candace.
Look, cool Candace is in my watch party.
Yes.
Tyrone Gravy and I
just waved at her.
So one of the things that I thought was good about the conversation, the article that I read, and I can send it to you guys, is that South Asian communities are having this same conversation about Kamala.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because in their communities, they also have individuals who have an anti-Black mentality as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they are also, we're not the only ones fighting for Kamala. There's others that are doing that as well. And I think that almost feeds to that same narrative that we were talking in the show last week about when you have children who are mixed, multicultural or mixed race, they are in a fortunate and unfortunate situation sometimes, because if they are mixed with, let's say, Black and white, let's just make it real easy. If they look to their Black friends and family, they may not be perceived as Black enough. If they turn to the white side of their family, they may not appear to be passable, either. And so to me, they are in this situation where they can learn and teach both sides, because they see the world differently than just someone who's Black or just someone who is white, or whatever the split is in their nationality or ethnicity or culture. So,
Oh, sorry.
I've been,
Go ahead, Candy.
It's called Mixed-ish. Kenya Barris did it. It's the spinoff from Blackish.
Oh, yeah.
It's the wife Rainbow. Rainbow is growing up in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And her trying to find her identity as a mixed child, because everything that everyone has ever seen is either white or black. There is no in between. And so from whatever commune or whatever she was on growing up in, the small box thinking that her group of family were in prior to them moving out to the suburbs, they didn't see color. Everybody was family. And so now she's thrown into this world where, okay, you got to pick a side. You hanging with the black people or you hanging with the white people? And she's like, why can't we all be friends?
Right.
Well, and I think that is a caveat to this discussion and the colorism discussion that we had last week, because a lot of people, whether they're mixed race or not, kind of force that type of thinking into everyone.
Right.
You have to choose. Are you going to hang out with the black people? Are you going to, divvy up on your black side? Or are you going to hang with the white kids and be proper? So, they make you choose. You can't be black and proper. Be like, oh, you're talking white. We had that conversation too.
Right.
So they make you choose. And it's like, okay, I'm still trying to figure out what my culture is, because a lot of my ancestors were taken from their home in Africa. And so now I'm still trying to figure out what my roots are.
Right.
I'm trying to see, did I come from Kenya, or did I come from Cameroon, or did I come from even if I was in South America, I don't know, because
Right.
I don't know from. And a lot of black people are in that one spot where they're like, okay, am I supposed to be in this box? Are you trying to put me in this African American box, or do I have, roots to Egypt? Or, where did my family come from? So at this point, it's like, okay, can I root for somebody that's not black? Or do I have to root for people who are only black? Or it's a tough discussion, but it needs to be had. And a lot of people don't really know which avenue to take on it. Like how we were saying with the Black Lives Matter, everybody's playing their lane, but like some people are protesting in the streets, and some people are, paying and shooting money into these different causes. And you got some people that's sitting on the legislation boards, and some people are going in and they're talking to the legislatures. Everybody has a lane, but black people that have slavery as a history, or they have their ancestors have ties to slavery, they're still trying to figure out, okay, where did my roots come from, so that I can hone in on that and be proud of culture, because America tells me I can only be black and that's it.
Right.
And so because of that, so many people are like, I know there's got to be more to it. I know this has got to be deeper, but which way do I go with it? And then when
they don't know how to get there, because there's no clear way to tell them how. So,
and then when you have a comparison comes out, everyone's like, do I like her because she's black? Or, well, she's not really African American, but
that's why they keep looking at the wrong thing, though. That's the wrong thing to look at. Like at the end of the day, the volcano is here. I think finally the volcano of life has come for us all. I think we're at a point where it is time for an eruption to happen, where we're not doing the reset button, but we have the opportunity to bring the new rules and make the mistakes that our forefathers of every color made. We need to get in the education system and be able to teach cultural backgrounds and history. We need to be able to get into the work system and be able to have people have different minorities in there, not just as employees and bosses and managers. I think where we're at right now is a generation, thanks to Dizzy Let Me See the Remix, a generation that is opening because of social media. They're getting knowledge super quick. And when knowledge comes super quick, it forces a reaction and behavior. Whereas my generation, when I was watching about the albums and the vinyls, we got it slow. We processed it slow. And what the good thing about it was we enjoyed it slow. We entertained slow. And we had memories that will last forever. The bad thing with the quick thing with social media is short, short, short. But the great thing about social media is the revolution is being televised. And I think right now, the eruption has to happen in order for us to really do something. So people, you know, I never thought I was going to say this, but some people will die. Some people will live. Some people will fail. Some people will win. It's in the book of Ecclesiastes. There's a time for everything. And I think the time is now to be ready for the volcano to erupt, because we're just at a place where there's too much wisdom being saturated into our young people and too much honesty being forced upon our old people, and everybody has to make a decision.
Ooh, say that again. Say that.
Ooh. Look. I love it. I love it. I love it. So here's my question then. All right. So I think we have, look, we have talked the race of Kamala Harris into the ground, because I feel at the end of the day, the color of her skin does not have anything to do with what are the policies and procedures going to be going forward with the Biden and Kamala ticket. We already know what Trump and Pence are doing, have done, and have not done. We are aware they had 4 years to show us this.
Well, Pence ain't did shit, but just follow goddamn Trump line.
True. But going forward, like, has any, and this is going to anybody out there that's listening right now, what have you researched? What do you know about Kamala Harris? What do you know about Joe Biden? Because the other storm that I saw happening on social media is people spewing incorrect facts about about everybody. Now, I am someone who I'm like, look, give me the facts and let me make my decision based off the facts.
Right.
But when you are posting, and I really hope all people that are listening to me right now, please take 2 seconds to see what you are posting before you are posting. Because you are posting stuff that is satire. You are posting stuff that is copy, pasted, Photoshop faked, and spreading it as actual news, actual information, and people will jump on that so quickly without even researching it. And that is scary.
Yeah, it is.
That is very scary. And that's one thing that I definitely have to check the box with and say, Trump is so right about fake news.
He's doing it.
He right, but he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He ain't wrong.
Fake news is dangerous.
There is a lot of fake crap that's going out there, and I think that the fakeness is overrunning the truth. And because it's overrunning the truth, people are going to go to the polls in November and vote off popularity and not facts.
Hold on.
Right. Which is dangerous.
I got a question.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I know I say some ignorant shit from time to time on here, but my question is this. Do we all know that the Electoral College picks the fucking president, right?
Right.
No.
No.
We know
that's not what it is.
That's not. We know that's isn't that the majority vote?
No.
The majority, right?
No. Let's go back to government class.
Let's take us back.
Let's go back to government class.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I brought it to you.
I hated this. Let me tell you, I hated history, but this right here is something I remember because I got put out my classroom. I will never forget. I got put out of my classroom. Mr. Roberts, Hampton High School, got put out of my classroom for questioning this process. So, basically, condensed, there's an election. Everybody votes. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. This is when I was real like, yay, let's go vote for who we want. So they were like, okay, you vote, everything is tallied, and then boom, you have your popular vote winner. That means more people voted for A than B. Then they started talking about the Electoral College. So I'm listening to him talk, and I'm just like, hold up. Question. I said, so you're telling me that I could have 10,000 people vote for something, and 8,000 people can vote for A, and 2,000 people can vote for B, and electoral college can some say,
we
gonna choose him anyway.
Right.
And he said, yeah. And I said, then what the hell is the purpose of voting? Because you're right, you have a choice. Bullshit. I don't have a choice.
I don't have a choice.
If a group of people can say, we know all y'all want this, but we're gonna choose.
But we what y'all need.
But here's the thing. Here's where, and I hope y'all have been listening to some of your friends and family and things that are telling you about voting. It's sad that people don't start coming out and really voting big until the presidential election.
Right.
Thank you. That's what I was getting at.
You have to vote for your congressmen, senators, state board members, city council.
All that.
Because
that's what matters. That's what makes the change.
Because guess who's making the electoral vote?
Attorney generals.
Thank you.
Prosecutors.
Thank you.
If you're not
You have to
like,
vote in the smaller that are in between the presidential election, whether it's for your mayor, whether it's for your governor, because all of these people are making the policies and they're making the rules and regulations that you have to follow on a daily basis. Not just the president that sits at the top. You got to make sure that the people that are going, that you're sending to Congress and that you're sending to the Senate and that you're sending to the House are actually voting for the rules and regulations that line up with what you're thinking. So when they get there, it's not just, oh, I'm voting for the president because that's who's in charge. No, you got these people that are sent to those offices that are to support them and that are to working in the legislative house or the executive branch or the judicial. You got to make sure that everything that you're voting for, one, is lining up with whatever you're thinking, because if you're voting against your own interest, that's your fault. You stupid. I'm just saying,
you know, that sounds like a mousetrap. You know how a mousetrap operates? They set it up in a part of the place where they want the mouse to go that's not in the place that the mouse really wants to live, which is the refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like, you know, they sending us all out to the mousetrap in order for us to be out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm looking at the fact that everybody talk about how they want to be this, and they want the community this way. They want to be this, they want to be that in their community. But like we were just saying, you're not voting on the people in your district. You're not putting those people in effect in your communities. You're not worried about it until it's time for the president. And it's like, if you're not putting these people in power in your communities that can actually keep moving up the ranks and keep moving up the ranks, then you're not helping nothing.
True.
You're not paying attention at the lower level. Why are you even caring about the top level?
Right. Hey, so I got Shane in here that says Kamala and Biden have both made policy choices that I don't fully agree with, but each of them have grown. Biden has walked back problematic commentary and opinions, which is a new side of politics. We have receipts. Harris has the same legacy too. She has made compromise, but her general direction is also growth. Tiff says, yeah, folks are just not doing their research. Denise says, go Candace. Shane said, yes, Kavana, that was the perfect metaphor. Misdirection. Agreed. I agree.
You know, it's kind of crazy just sitting back and thinking, it's like with politics, you know, even with the numbers and watching people boo the show right now, it's just, I think people have to, it's like you have to come to a grown place to want to be here to know and have the wisdom and knowledge, but it's only when life affects you, when you get real grown and got bills and taxes and all that kind of stuff. But I think the things and how we say things up here, the reason I enjoy it so much is because as a teacher, I'm like, I wish they would teach kids this way. I wish they would teach adults this way, because a lot of times we put a lot of tricks in our education instead of just telling it what it is. And if we could just tell people like that and what it is, then people would be more obvious, because until this point, I just had another aha. I haven't seen people rally for what I call the domino effect. They only go to the big domino, which is the president.
Right.
I think
so that really is important for all of us, like to repeat and say again, like, look, Even next year, like you getting ready, we have, you know, a month, more than a month, less than a month, whatever, before the election happens. And of course, we want you to vote, but now next year, if you haven't, you're gonna have to start getting into these other places and finding out how that operates, because a lot of people, some people just don't know. Like they be like, "What? What you mean?"
But you said it. You said it best though. Being a teacher, and you wish that they would teach that.
Yes.
They're programming us
Right.
to think the way that we think and move already, all the way from, you know, grade school. They program us to think in that way, that we're not looking at our communities. We're looking at the big, you know, domino to fall. We're looking at that part. We're not looking at building it up.
The focus is just to hold up white supremacy, period. That's how they teach everything.
It's programmed.
Because it's important what they teach you, and it's also important what they don't teach you.
Including movies.
Well, we already know entertainment is powerful.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But there's a lot of information that they don't teach you because of the way they're trying to guide you with what they are teaching you.
Correct.
So I put your blinders on and I steer you this way, you can't see what's going on over here, or you can't see what has already happened that I'm trying to shield you from looking at, because I don't want you to rise up and start a revolt because of this information that, you know, you should have already known, but because I was guiding you somewhere else, I didn't want you to know about it.
Right. So Lance says, go ahead.
I'm about to say that, Lance. I just read his post.
I know, I was getting ready.
Say that.
Go ahead, Keila.
Like, we are just so focused, of course, on just trying to pass the grade, making sure that we're doing the homework so that we can pass the test, and then, you know, advance to the next grade to then get into college. It is a benefit and a privilege for people to have enough wisdom to take information in from other places, but you also have to know where to find that information. And so if a parent is working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, just to make sure that there is food on the table, sometimes they don't even have enough time to do all of this research to then give it to their child so that they are more armed when they go out into the world. And so it's like from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, you are just focused on getting out of school, and so that you can get a job and you can do this. And so that's where those blinders are. That's where, you know, the banging of, no, this is what you need to know. This is all you need to know. And we'll pass you if you know this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Lance says, I'm a firm believer on action speaking louder than words. I hardly believe the media when it comes to the politics and candidates. The problem is that the media is monitored by higher elites that only portray what they want to everyone in order to manipulate the society for the personal agenda. I have not honestly done enough research recently on the current candidates. However, the presidents are only the face of the disasters or failures of Congress. Change the Congress and set terms for them, and you will see a different mindset that could possibly have a more positive impact when it comes to today's era. I'm so tired of people being there for 20 years and live back in old times and have that mindset. The world is changing. We either adapt and overcome the struggles that have been set before us and put new personnel in those positions. People are insane to expect different results than they demand when the same damn people are the ones who are making up all the policies and regulations.
That is the definition of insanity. Woo.
True. Okay, so we have a question for us. Do you all also think that the art of debate has lost its place? It took me 20 years to learn how to argue with my dad about stuff without arguing to win, but to educate and compromise. So do you think that, not just with, presidency, but let's talk presidency, do you think that the debate process is what it should be?
No.
It's all about slander right now.
Not at all.
About slander. When it comes to presidency, they just slander each other over and over again.
And it used to not be like that. I always say it's the character of the person that brings in the trash or brings in the blessings. And, Trump has finally really messed it all the way up. It was already leading more and more. But when you have someone that was from social media, from reality TV and still acts like he's on reality TV. He hasn't acted like a president since the time that he's walked into the office. And, you know, when he spews back on Twitter and IG, that's not what presidents do. I remember good debates. I remember people finding out facts and researching and going toe to toe in their own, not only what they're standing for, but actually making the opponent think about what they're standing for and making sure, is it credible or not? I think a debate is about finding the real truth between two people, and the people are watching that truth happen. And sometimes you really see the opponent lose because they find out like they're not standing on solid ground. And I think that's the great thing. But I love a debate. I think it was it Clinton? I think it was during Clinton's time. I really do think it was Clinton's time. And I love watching him because he would always have this like this slight chuckle.
Who?
Clinton.
Yeah.
Clinton.
He will always have this slight chuckle before he about to like say something.
Like somebody ass up, hell yeah.
But he would always chuckle every single time. But I remember when he was debating, every time that he finished, he made sure that he shook hands. And you could tell that he was always sincere about it is what it is. You know, this is what we're here for, but we don't have to be here for war. We have to be here for our purposes. But I think that's what's missing is that people come in like they really want people to be ended and canceled, and that's crazy.
Because debates have turned into playing.
I think it's become more. I think it's become more about sound bites than it has been the quality of the discussion and the progress being made.
Right.
It's about what you can get, including in Congress when they're discussing things with people like last year when they were talking with Facebook regarding the lack of diversity in the different programs. It just seems like it was more about sound bites than it was about actually creating progress and creating diversity in those things. So for me, you know, everyone was like jumping on the bandwagon for the person who was speaking and asking the questions to not giving the chance for Zuckerberg to speak. But without understanding, I mean, I'll post the link in the video so you can see it. But the question Zuckerberg should have asked the senator or the congresswoman was, "What are you doing to help allow me to bring diversity into the IT development world?" Because, as we all know, we were not raised to be, for the most part, we were not raised to be in the IT world 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was more on basketball, sports, get a college education, get a good job, and simple. And now 20 years later, we're saying, well, why isn't there enough diversity in these type of fields? But when you go back 20 years before, when the seed was planted, it's because we weren't planting the seed for that, and we have to take some type of responsibility. So, you know, to say about what congressmen, and it's about sound bites to me, and it's about what looks good, and if they can get a quick point in, a stinger that's all over YouTube or all over Facebook, then they're good. But to actually try to define the issues and to bring the issues and solve them, I don't think that's being done. I think it's just a lot of rhetoric and a lot of talk.
Well, I kind of want to piggyback off of that because I love debate.
Oh, really?
I love debate. I was on my debate team for school. So, all right. I feel like the debate process, the intent is good intent. However, I think that now with technology, because I think it's part of it, technology and the need for immediate gratification, and all of that has affected the way that people in general communicate. And so, although a good debate you got a certain amount of time to set up your facts and prove your point, you are trying to reach people who need to be reached within 140 characters. And so that long, deep, you know, the Twitter generation. So I can't prove or I can't make the point that you need me to make with all my facts and my numbers and my stats so that you understand what I'm trying to say. Not agree, because you don't have to agree. That's not the point of a debate. It's not to make you agree with me. It is for you to understand. And I know that all of you know, and probably people who know me that are watching, they know that I say, I agree, I understand, but I don't agree. I understand your point if you can articulate your point, but we have a generation of folks right now that if they can't find the words to articulate what they want to say. And so then they turn to name calling and bashing. Yeah. Because that's what they were taught to do. They don't have the communication skills. They don't have the social emotional skills. They don't have the words to be able to debate.
But that's the point of like a debate too, for president, to see those skills in action. One of the greatest things I love about Obama is his calmness and his response. He never rushes to speak. He never is rushed to speak. He thinks, he speaks, he points it out, he takes that pause. I think that, you know, we have a lot of things that are missing for our generation, but they don't understand, like, you're looking for the person that is able to be resilient and to be able to stand in the midst of a lot of things. It's not just about your education. It's about how you are in the midst of a storm of mess and people coming at you and doing things. And even when I was thinking about what Rodney was saying about Facebook, Zuckerberg never thought that he would be in the midst of talking to this people about his baby. I think the problem is yeah, they need to be responsible, like you said, writing about taking responsibility, but they'd like to take power. Mm-hmm. See, the problem is they saw that power, and now Facebook is Instagram, and Instagram is Twitter. Like, people don't even realize they're owned now by the same people, i.e., which is a company that is owned by the government. That is why the print and all this kind of stuff, I keep telling people, for instance, I said something yesterday about ISSU. It's a digital site. I went up there on my Facebook, on my website. It showed up on my Instagram in about 45 seconds. Mm-hmm. Everything is attached. So that's why I say, you know, sometimes we're put in positions where we're so forced, but I think if people would learn how to have a backbone, mm-hmm. and stand on those 2 feet, mm-hmm. there's a difference in just being a solid person. And I think that's what we're missing. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Kamala Harris, the one thing I like about her, she's got a backbone. I like a woman, especially a Black woman, a sister. I love a woman that can be like, you know what? I don't care what you said. You can kindly be quiet and listen to me, or shut up. Either way, you know what I'm saying? I like a person.
That's why he loved us. You know that, right?
Right. I like women that truly are not afraid to be, you know, women and all that sense of stuff. But at the end of the day, you're not going to just tell me what to do. And I think any person, and I don't see that. I see people that become their identity on Twitter. And I think that's the problem with the election and how we voice things and the things that we were saying. It's just like, I think that's what's happening a lot.
So what do we say to those out there, our friends, our associates, our family members, our et cetera? What do we say to them if they choose not to vote? They're not going to vote. They're going to write somebody's name in. They're going to vote for Donald Duck, whatever. What would you say to them to encourage and or discourage? What would you
tell them to get more involved in their communities? Number one, that would be the first thing I tell them. Get more involved in their communities. Understand the things that affect them immediately. The presidency doesn't affect you immediately at first. You have to look at the things that's going on in your community. You have to look at who's the damn judge. Who's sheriff? Who's this? Who's that? You know, these things that affect you immediately in your community. I would tell them to look at those kind of things, and that way it would help them to start getting a better understanding about presidencies and things like that.
Mm.
Okay. All right.
That's a great point for anyone to start at. Because if you don't know who's on your city council, if you don't know who's supposed to be working on the board of education for, where your children are going to school at, those are the entities that you should be worried about, because they are the decision makers for what's going to happen to you immediately. Decision makers, right? For what's going to happening in your children's schools, and what's going to be happening in your community. They're the decision makers who are going to allow that raggedy road in your city to be fixed, or make you walk around that big pothole to get to wherever you're trying to go. Right. Understanding what the decision is, or what the decisions are that the mayor in your city is supposed to be making, and what your sheriffs are going to be doing, or how they feel justice is to be served in your community, or what decisions your governors are making for your state. If you don't know who those people are, that isn't going to, how can I put it? You put yourself at a disadvantage when you aren't as aware of what's going on in your neighborhood, along with what's going on at the state level, in your region, and in our country. You have to start from the inside and then kind of work your way out. Not to say don't worry about the president, because that is something to be concerned about as well. However, you still need to be aware of what's going on each of those levels to get to that area. Okay. To go back to the debate issue, I think what a lot of people have missed when it comes to debates is, one, they weren't on their debate team in school. So they don't understand how you're supposed to have discourse and how you're supposed to have conversations with people, because we're in the texting generation where they'll sit there and watch, they'll say, be like, oh, I'm up, I'm bored. And then someone will call them and they'll watch the phone ring because they don't want to talk to them on the phone, and then they'll respond, they'll send a text message, hey, why'd you call me? I missed your call. I was trying to have a conversation with you. So a lot of people don't know how to have conversations at this point in this generation. And that's one thing that is missing, because then you have some kids that are in school and they're doing the text talk when they're trying to write a paper. Baby, you can't write BTW to write by the way when you're writing a thesis statement. Like, you need to write out by the way if you're going to include that statement. And then another thing, a lot of people don't know what it means to agree to disagree. And or like what Dizzy said, I understand what you're saying. I don't have to agree with it, but I can understand what you're saying. I can see your point, because everyone does their own opinion. Everybody can think, however you feel to think. Be like, oh, well, I don't want to vote for president because I don't like either one of I don't like either one of the candidates. Okay, that's your right. That's your prerogative. However, not voting in that election trickles down. It may take a minute, but it's going to trickle down to you at your level, where it's going to affect your children. It's going to affect your job. It's going to affect the money that you're making. Because let's say that payroll tax goes through that he's trying to rebuke right now, or he's trying to push to the side. You do know we pay taxes next year, right? So if he suspends the payroll tax just for a little bit, let's say 6 months, imagine how much money that 6% adds up out of your check. Now, when it's time,
you're going to have to pay back during tax.
All of it. Yeah, they're gonna want all of it at that one time. Do you have it? Are you gonna have it to give back to them? Because they're gonna want it at that time, and
they don't care either. They want it right.
They don't care. They don't care.
Immediate gratification. Again, that's because of immediate gratification and the need.
Right. Microwave system. Everybody wants it right now. So you have to exercise your right to vote. Start on the local level and then work your way up to the national level. Find out, what's the word I'm looking for? Find out what new laws are trying to be, introduced for your community and for your state and for, for the country. Find out what different things that are going to be on the ballot for whenever the elections are coming up. Because let's say they're going to be voting on whether weed is going to be legal or not. That's going to be on a ballot. That's not just someone just going to be like, hey, I'm going to make this legal. No, that's going to be on a ballot. Well, let's say, oh, well, if we're going to introduce a 1% sales tax so that we can send more money to the schools, that's going to be on a ballot. So these are things that you have to be aware of because it affects different parts of your lives at different entities. And so if you want to be as progressive or as woke as you claim that you are, you got to start at your level and work your way out so that you can be aware of everything that's going on around you.
And not just knowing the laws, I think they need to understand the process of passing the bills, passing the bills to become the law. Because again, researcher, when you have individuals say, I'm making this up, this is not factual, Joe Biden voted against Black people getting $500 more a paycheck. Let's just say that's what it was.
I mean, but I need.
Okay, so let's say that you would be upset. Well, Biden didn't want to give Black people $500 more. No, fool. The bill was this thick.
Yep.
And it started off talking about gun reform.
Right.
And on page 97, article number 3, somebody slid in
this big of a paragraph.
$500 more for Black people. And he said, what the hell they, this doesn't belong in this bill. I vote no. Or the gun information was BS and he voted against that. So please, and again, I can beg and plead all I want to, but I already know our culture, not just African American. I'm talking about United States culture. They are not gonna go read the 90-something page report. They don't care.
Well, I wouldn't say, let me say this. I wouldn't say they don't care, because I want to speak for the Simple Simon, Peter, Paul people such as myself.
You're not Simple Simon.
Oh, no. I say this because I just saw one that Lance said, and it kind of goes along for me. Because a lot of times for me, I would vote every other term because I just didn't feel like it was important. A lot of the problem with people is not being honest. Make people feel guilty about not voting. First of all, don't feel guilty about anything that you decide to do with your life. Point blank and period. But I think the most important thing that happened to me is I got around 5 other people on a screen and they begin to share with me their life and love of politics. You have to find strength before you can go study, because a lot of people are just intimidated by words, intimidated by books, intimidated. And that's, if anybody don't want to be real with that, then you're not really trying to be a real person in front of me at all. A lot of stuff that I didn't do, I felt intimidated. But if you find a few people that will give you strength, meaning the education, like the more I do what you got to say, at first, I was just going to vote. Like, I was like, okay, I'm good. All right, great. October 1st to the 31st, every single day, y'all going to see something you ain't never seen out of me before. Right. Because now, from friends that have enlightenment and wisdom, I am becoming enlightened. I want the wisdom. A lot of times, you can throw out a lot of terms. It's like, people don't even know I studied to be an auto mechanic, and I know how to rebuild a carburetor. Don't ask, I won't do it.
I'm about to say, charging.
But the thing about
I got in the back.
No, but this is the thing. This is the thing. When I went into the class, I almost failed because I was so intimidated by what they were saying, the words. And my dad was like, you need to learn how to car. You need to learn how to fix something. You need to learn. I was like, oh, Lord. So I went there, and then eventually somebody came up to me and say, man, I see it. He said, it looks like a blur to you. And he started to really help me one-on-one. So I think the greatest advice that I can give anybody when it comes to politics is find people that are like, almost like fans of politics, almost excited about it, because then they're going to share with you in a way that's exciting. When I listen to Candace, when I listen to Keela, when I listen to Dizzy, when I listen to Rodney, when I listen to Tyrone, y'all are all like, have your different excitement than me being in the classroom and they be like, well, the Democratic political party says that if we move this block of people, you'll be able to go this further and then some and over. What the hell did you just say? Like, you know, so therefore I encourage anyone that if you're intimidated, truly find a squad, like he said, of people that are excited about it. Because now I'm studying, I'm gang. We're October 1st, baby. Y'all better get
gang,
ready.
gang.
Woo, gang, gang, gang.
Right.
Be crazy.
So what we can say is we encourage our listeners and our watchers. Can we talk about more than WAP?
Yes.
Can y'all can you guys get in circles and discuss more than who had the least amount of clothes on in the music video?
WAP this president. Come on.
He said, WAP this president. I'm gonna say, Lance, I see your statement. I am going to use your statement as the closer. I see you, I promise. Your statement. Lance is gonna be our official closer.
Lance, you gonna have to come on this show.
He closed the last 3 shows, whether y'all paid attention or not. He closed the last 3 shows.
He has. Oh, okay. So we have Shane. Shane came in and says for the debate part, we need to find subjects that are pertinent and don't be condescending for debate. They have perspectives too. We have to find the right way to frame it. For me and my dad, it was like, look, you are right, and this doesn't impact you. It was certain things that they were discussing. You're right. This doesn't impact you directly, but what about your grandchildren? I also use Amazon as a great example of why corporate taxes are so needed. How can he make billions off of our economy and not get taxed back into our benefit? Denise came back to Rodney and said, hold on, wait a minute. Denise said to Rodney, I don't agree. This is about we planted the seed for IT or whatever. She says, I don't agree. We were in IT and creators. We were just not talked about or celebrated. That's my cybersecurity boo right there.
Come on, Hidden Figures.
She said yes. I know, right? She said yes. They need to research the platforms and not just listen to sound bites or quick info. Shane also says find someone on the other side of your party to talk with. I have a very conservative friend who helps provide great clapbacks. And also, Shane, when I said, can we talk about more than just WAP? Shane said, I don't cook, I don't clean.
But I'll show you how I got that ring.
I love my tribe. I love my tribe. All right, so we're going to do our roundabout, and then we're going to go out with Mr. Lance. I think that soon we need to see if Lance can join us.
Yes, Lance. Come on, Lance.
Lance, if you're able to join us on the live soon, we're going to get you on our live. So, roundabout, closing comments from all. I'm going to start with... I'm gonna let Rodney go first since he's our guest today.
I love that background though.
He in the studio, bro.
Yo, that background's fine.
Just in case y'all didn't know, Mr. Rodney is actually sitting in the true What You Got To Say studios. He's sitting in the studio of our podcast.
What you got to say?
What you got to say with the tapes in the back? That's what's up.
Yeah. At the end of the day, 45 and the devil gotta go. Whether we agree about this and that, and whether Kamala Harris that whatever, as long as she's aligning with us and she's for us and not against us, because it can't be that Mr. Biden does become president and he is old and he could die. So as long as she's agreeing with us and she's gonna stay true to what she believes and what she says she believes, I have no problem with her, and I think that the rest of the community who does have
y'all are laughing.
But he said it so plain and simple.
I mean, dang, Rodney.
Denise said, Rodney, drop the mic. I mean, he gonna die.
What is wrong with you?
We all tried to let Rodney finish, right? We all tried.
I really did. I was
like, what the fuck?
My mouth, like.
Keely, you better drink that dog ginger ale. You hear me?
Hungover.
Honey, all you is guzzling.
Look, let Rodney finish his statement. That's
Yeah,
funny.
let Rodney finish. That shit was funny though.
Oh.
But we just got to make sure that she is on our side, and when it is time for her to get into action, that she does what she says and she stands by what she says she claims to believe.
Amen.
And that goes for anyone.
I believe that.
Gotcha. What's up, Keela?
Like, you got to get past that guzzle. Come on here.
Like she got them ginger ale bubbles in her nose.
Hey, shout out for the hair.
Yes.
His ring. So, I want to go out by saying this. You have the right to vote or not vote. Period. It's your right. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say about that, but y'all should vote. Tonight, tune into CNN, whatever your local time is, because W. Kamau Bell is doing an episode on United Shades of America on reparations. Okay. Tonight on United Shades of America in New Orleans, talking to people about reparations for American slavery. He's talking to Pulitzer Prize winning people. This is a very important conversation that we need to elevate to get us to the point where America pays reparations, period. Whether you agree or not, there are people who are like very educated trying to make sure that America pays for the sins of the past. Okay, they can give it to everybody else. This is a very important conversation. So on United Shades of America on CNN, they will be talking about that tonight. Try to tune in if you can.
Send that in our box so I can post it on the Facebook page as well,
yeah.
just to remind people to go see it.
Tyrone Gregory.
Oh shit, you came to me too quick. Okay, I'm here.
You came too quick.
Whap!
It was that whop that did it. I'm sorry.
Whap. I said whap. Whap, bap, boom. Hey. We have mental sickness right now. There is something wrong.
Going along with what my sister just said, yo, for real, gotta go vote. And I still stand firmly that you need to understand what's going on in your communities. You gotta vote these people in. You can't want, okay, you may want a person of your descent in office. Okay, I do. But you gotta put them in position as council members, as senators, as governors. You gotta put them in position there so they can even understand what they're doing to help themselves get to that position to be in the seat to run the country. So I urge you, vote in your community for those kind of things. I really urge that. I really do. I just started doing this in the past 4 years. Why? Because, 45. I was like, oh, I don't want another one of those.
True.
I had to understand how not to have one. And how not to have one is you got to start from the beginning. You got to start at the bottom. And then just going back to what Cabana said earlier about how they put us in those boxes, and when you go fill out applications and things like that, you can only check one thing, black, right? I think I'm gonna just start checking white and see what happens.
What they gonna do?
What they gonna do?
What they gonna do?
You should
I'm gonna check white. I mean, my name is Gregory.
Well,
that is a blackety black ass name. Hush up.
I'm just saying, I'm Gregory.
Blackity
black.
Y'all are so see.
I'm gonna check white.
There's a problem. Something's just happening in the water.
But not all true.
The baptismal is gone left. It's like it's got Kool-Aid in there instead of water. I don't know what's happening.
You gotta get out there in y'all communities, and y'all really gotta, understand what y'all doing when it comes to politics. I don't like discussing politics with my friends, but guess what? I'm on here with my family.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? They gonna give me good advice, and we're giving it to y'all.
Bet.
All I want y'all to do is work in y'all communities. Period. Bet. I'm done. Off my soapbox.
Miss Cool Candace.
Hashtag vote or die. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna go back to this. Hashtag vote or die. Like
gang.
Ass hoes. And not stripper ones. The actual.
But we can go there too. Wait a minute.
You go there too. Let me know when you go.
We go leave the other one.
after quarantine though. After, yeah.
Let me tell you something. This water is really, this water is serious today.
You're platinum.
Okay. No, but seriously, like I've been voting in elections since I was 18. I think the only time where I wasn't able to vote religiously in every election was when we were stationed overseas. But when I was stateside and currently right now, every election that I'm aware of, I take my butt to the poll and I make sure that we vote. I always get my little sticker and I post it. I voted today. Like, you know, it's bragging rights. I'm out here trying to make change. And that's what you should be trying to do. Make change in your community. Whether it's on a local level, on a national level, you're trying to figure out what's going on in your county, the city council or board of education, you know, it all works together. The property taxes that you paying for your house, that helps the schools as well. And for people who don't have children and still have to pay property taxes, I'm sorry, I still love you. I appreciate it. My kids are in school. To piggyback on the Kamala Harris, for her to be chosen for this position is an honor in itself. That's great. I'm all for it. Black girl magic, run it. Let's do it. My thing with it is I would hope that she continues to be a champion for justice reform. I'm not saying she's a perfect politician. She's not. There are no perfect politicians. There are no perfect people. So everyone has a past. So what you do from there is, have you learned from your past? What are you doing now to change any thoughts that you have had previously that will help to benefit the masses? If her and Biden are elected, they're not just the president and vice president of just Black people. They are the president and vice president of these United States of America. So, you know, whether you agree or not with what they're saying, because there's a lot of things that we do and do not agree with what President Trump is doing right now, he's still the president. So if he is doing things that you are not proud of and that you you're not on the same wavelength that he's on, then you need to do your due diligence and take your butt to the poll and let your voice be heard. And he was one of the main ones talking about, we need to get rid of the electoral college because that doesn't reflect, you know, the thoughts of all Americans because they didn't choose it. And then how did he get his seat?
Correct.
I'm just saying. So if these are things that do concern you, if there are other ideals that you have that you want to be expressed, then you need to get out and vote. Then you need to get out and speak to your local members of Congress. You need to speak to your local members and let them know what your thoughts are. They have meetings all the time, whether it's virtual or in-house, or you can also send them a letter. You can send them an email. You can call their offices. You know, you can reach out to these local officials. You can reach out to your senators and your congressmen and women, congresswomen too. You can reach out to all of them and let them know what your thoughts are and let them know how things are going in your community. And if there's things that you would like to see changed, come up with a solution. We have ideas that people can use and go forward with. You can't just complain about a problem and not have a solution for it. It may not be the best solution, but at least you try. So that's my thoughts.
Cool.
Go to the polls, vote. That's all I'm saying. Vote, vote, vote. I don't care who you vote for. I do, but just go. Vote.
Mr. Cabana Black.
Okay, so I say to everyone, and I have this split. This first half is for people such as myself that you are not consistent in voting and you kind of go in and out and you know you don't know. I say fall in love. Fall in love with voting because then you're fall in love with your freedom. The way you fall in love with an artist, the way you fall in love with Instagram, find a way to see that when you vote, it allows you to be free on Twitter. It allows you to be free with your videos on YouTube. It allows you to have a voice more. When you start to vote, your freedom find a love relationship in politics, as I'm finding. I'm finding new ways to look at the president, to look at the governor, to look at the senator. Because sometimes, yes, we can say all these great things, but if you're not falling in love with the process of growing and becoming, you'll never go to it. You just look at it. So find a way to fall in love with it. And for those that are already passionate about this and passionate about voting and politics, now that I'm on that side, do like me, because I promise you October 1st, help the people that are having a problem with it. Be creative. Get on your Twitter, get on your Instagram, get on your YouTube, and be proactive. Be visual, because we know that visual campaigns sell votes, because a lot of people are not going to read. A lot of people are not going to study. Help them want to study. Help them want to read. Help them want to get involved by taking your wisdom and finding ways to be creative each and every day. Because in this campaign, we need daily push every single day for 31 days until the voting day. So I say fall in love with the process of your freedom, and just make sure that people that are already in love with it help us get there.
That's what's up.
Is today the day that Cabana just want to give all the words?
No,
right.
it's just in my spirit.
I'm down.
I'm not mad about it at all, bro. Hey, you spitting that truth though, but
maybe it's Keela's hair, honey. Bro. Y'all need to find Meg Stallion, Cardi, and Nicki and let Keela do their hair. That's free.
I didn't say shit about that.
I feel that my words are in Lance's statement and also in my aunt's statement. So I'm gonna read Lance's statement for our statement.
Oh, Rodney didn't go, did he?
Yes, he did.
He did.
He was first. Let's pay attention.
Skywalker.
He ain't been saying too much this episode, and I was waiting for him.
He ain't saying much because he was wrong. That's why. No, I'm just playing.
Come on, Skywalker.
I'm just playing.
We can continue this conversation later.
I'm saying
I'm just playing.
Listen, you don't know this, but he been talking about this episode was gonna be fire, so I was waiting for Rodney to come through.
He did put the fire.
Look, here's the problem. The problem is Rodney is like 3 sheets to the wind. I don't know what he drank, but Rodney is not where he should be right now. And so he's like, yo, Kamala, Jamaica.
Yeah, y'all won.
Y'all, all right, we gonna talk later though. So it's all good. You know what? We love Rodney. We love Rodney.
Okay.
Look at his face. Look at his face. He's like, nah, fuck that dude. I'm gonna get your ass.
You gotta be careful, y'all. Let's get to the end.
All right. So
I'm gonna go get something to drink and then we're gonna talk.
Okay. All right. So Lance says foundation starts from the squad and up. Develop a team. The team will develop into a bigger group, develop multiple groups. You develop a community. You develop communities. You develop a better society that immediately impacts you in your surrounding area. Yes. And if we continue to build off that, it will eventually make its way up the chain into politics, and then differences will be made. It may take longer than what people want. However, we must show resiliency in that aspect. Continue to be the leaders that the world needs, and eventually a difference can be made. Vote for who and not what they are. You cause enough ripple effects in the ocean and it will eventually turn into a massive wave. Same concept for us. If we cause enough ripple effects in our society, it will cause a bigger movement and have a bigger impact on anything in its path. And I have to put at the end of that the words that my auntie typed twice. Please get out and vote. We can't have FOMO years of this shit. So with that, what you got to say? We love y'all. We'll see you next Sunday. We out. Peace.
Boom, boom, boom.
And